Welcome to the Near Memo, a weekly conversation about search, social, and commerce. What happened, why it matters, and the implications for local. Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to the Near Memo, episode 90. Ding-a-ling-ling-ling-ling-ling-ling-ling. And this is our...
10 more to go and we're in syndication. Or 11 more to go and we're in syndication.
That's right. Yes, we'll be making $20 million a year, as the cast members of Friends do. And this is our pre-Thanksgiving, for those in the U.S., pre-Thanksgiving edition, which isn't going to be any particularly Thanksgiving-y. But we've got a pretty much an all Google episode again today. Mike's going to be following up on the suggested edit bug. I'm going to be talking about the Moz report on local reviews, and David's going to be talking about Google's new Locator Plus Kluge store locator and what it sort of signifies more generally about Google's product vision, I think. So, Mike, take it away.
So last week we covered this bug in great detail, but I learned a lot about it during the past week. I identified an easy way to tell whether you have the bug. Part of the problem with reviews is Google has, there's 4 ways you can lose reviews. One is this bug, but there's 3 other ways that are intended, like Google shuts off reviews for all doulas in the country because of Roe v. Wade. And so doulas can't get reviews right now. Or they go back and they look at all the old reviews that a locksmith got, and the locksmith may lose 20% of their reviews. Or if you're starting a new business and you start soliciting reviews, Google may prevent you from getting reviews. So those are all sort of not this bug. To tell if you have this bug, and everybody who loses reviews thinks it's a Google bug, it's mostly Google working as intended. They want to nuke your reviews. But this is very specific, and you can tell if you have it fairly easily. One is your reviews literally drop to 0, right? As opposed to losing 10 or 20 or 30% is point one. And the second way to diagnose it is if the review link you were using last month no longer resolves correctly, and the new review link, this is the one that Google gives you, does resolve correctly, that's an indicator that you've lost your old CID number and been switched to a new one because that link doesn't resolve correctly to the new one. And so if you do a quick, I've lost all my reviews and my old review link doesn't resolve, you've got this bug. Now, what was interesting to me about solving this problem was I brought it to Google, Tuesday of last week. And I started accumulating cases in the forums once I knew what I was looking for. And then Google went back to me. I said, this is an important bug. Somebody should look at it. And they came back and said, would you collate all the information about the business's names and all the specifics? And so this is, I can't say this verbally, but this is what I thought. And so if you're watching this video, it's much more graphic.
It's entirely reasonable. This is 100% your problem, not Google's problem. So you should be the one to do all this work.
Well, yet you did it, right? Yet you did it.
I did it because it was like these people were desperate, right? So I did it. I collated it all. And they said to me, it's been escalated. Great. So this is like Thursday. Meanwhile, more cases are coming in. There's 8 or 10 or 11 businesses that are affected by this. And for the next 3 or 4 days, I kept asking, what should we do? How should we escalate these? And they kept saying it's been escalated. We don't know, whatever. So Sunday at home, day off for most people in this world, a roofer from Washington, desperate, found my name, tracked me down, and called me at home on Sunday. And I spent all day helping him apply for his reinstatement of reviews. It's a fairly complex and arcane process because you've got to post in the forum because Google won't solve problems that aren't posted in the forum. You've got to provide certain bits of evidence that helped him collate. It was very difficult because he didn't know anything. So I spent all day Sunday, doing this. And it just demonstrated, and he was desperate because he had 2 families dependent on his business. His business had literally dropped to 0 and he was desperate. And by Monday, I still had not heard. So I tweeted to Google, Danny Sullivan and the GPB support team. And Danny Sullivan knew nothing about it, but the Google liaison responded that it confirmed that it was a bug. They were in the process of fixing it. We started seeing reviews come back Monday. By Tuesday, most of the ones that we had reported had come back. But it's not clear whether all of the ones that they caused this to were fixed. We don't know that yet. Now, I just tweeted at Google again because when I read their tweets earlier, it wasn't clear that they were going to go back and fix the old all the ones. It was clear they're going to fix the ones going forward or not have the problem and fix the ones that were reported. But you never know with Google if they're just trying to put a Band-Aid over a problem, get it out of the press, or whether they're really going to fix it. They claimed in the tweet just a few minutes ago that they are going to try to go back and fix them all. Time will tell. But it is so, I mean, it says a number of things. One, how bad Google support is, that I am their support system. I'm the one identifying bugs. Two, how I have to publicly engage them to get them to respond to this.
Shame. You have to shame them.
I have to shame them, right? I couldn't privately get an answer. I worked all weekend. And three, how important these are for businesses, right? This business was desperate. I mean, he and his wife stopped what they were doing, went through the forums, found that I was the only person responding in the forums to this kind of problem, and took the time to call me. And we spent all day working on it off and on, between them watching football games. I don't know what I was doing. I wasn't watching football games. So anyways, it's fascinating to me because it's all of Google, and it's a problem that sort of merges two issues, right? That the suggested edit, which is a problem in and of itself because it works so poorly, where they force changes onto businesses, but then they did it in such a way that they forced so many changes that they caused the base number, the CID, to change, and then they lost reviews. And just sort of, it's amazing that they would roll this out so poorly tested, rely on volunteers to find the bug, take days to respond to the bug, only respond when publicly shamed. It's like, hello, this is not how the world should work, and this is the way it works, and it's discouraging.
So for more kind of, you provided a pretty complete discussion, but you, just to remind people listening, there is an article that you wrote that's in the analysis section of Near Media if you want more background and mechanics on how this operates. I mean, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that the article got picked up by both Barry Schwartz and Search Engine Land, which I think facilitated
Barry
their
wrote the
response.
Barry wrote the article on Search Engine Land.
Right, but the fact that it appeared in higher level online sources motivates Google quite frequently.
Yeah, this is classic large company behavior. The lack of sort of infrastructure and support, you would think would be reflective on some level of a startup, somebody who's not got enough people. But on the other hand, this is also what large companies do. They sort of ignore problems unless there's an escalation to unless there's some public shaming involved. That's unfortunately too often the way that it has to work.
Thanks for joining David, Mike, and Greg. To stay on top of the latest developments in local, subscribe to our newsletter at nearmedia.co. We'll see you next week.